All right, everyone, the time is now 2 p.m. We have a very large calendar, so let's go ahead and begin. Is courtroom 2 on the line? They are. Is everyone able to hear me?
I can hear you, Judge.
Yeah.
I hear you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Have all public defenders and defense attorneys had the opportunity to interview their clients?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you. At courtroom 2, please give us any announcements regarding medical resets or those who bonded out, only because we don't want to work up cases we won't have today in light of the length of this calendar.
Position number 15 is a medical reset.
Okay. Is that the only announcement?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod, have you had the opportunity to speak with your clients?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, let's begin. This is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court.
Come on, you'll be my first one, sister.
In the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Today is Saturday, June 24th of 2023. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. All right, when I ask you if you understand your rights, that is what I am referring to. All right, who's first? Who do I have at the jail?
Position 1, Applewhite.
All right, Mr. Applewhite, your case is 23 CR 003972F. You're charged with battery, family violence in this case. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, I do.
All right, first arrest, so we'll go to Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on June 22nd, 2023. Officers were dispatched to 615 Birkdale Drive in Fairburn, Georgia, in reference to a physical fight. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the victim, Afia Applewhite. She informed officers that her brother, the defendant, had punched her in the face. She stated this incident occurred because she was trying to get her cell phone off the table, which was under a bag of chips. Both she and the defendant grabbed the chips at the same time. And after she let go of the chips, the defendant pushed her in the face and then punched her in the right eye. Officers observed swelling and blood on her right eye. When they spoke to the defendant, he provided a similar story. However, he stated that Ms. Applewhite pushed him first. Our investigators have talked to the victim. She stated that the defendant lives with her mom and her cousin at 615 Birkdale Drive. She stated that he has been physically violent towards her in the past, pretty much her entire life. She stated that he's also been physically abusive to her mother and other family members. However, she wants to move forward with the charges, and she has confirmed the incident report as accurate. Due to these incidents, Your Honor, we are currently asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with his sister, Afia Applewhite. Stay away from 615 Birkdale Drive, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, and anger awareness course.
All right, I'm sounding for Ms. Afia Applewhite at this time. All right, hearing and seeing none. Ms. Adams.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Please pardon my dog. I'm trying to get him to stop barking. Your Honor, Mr. Applewhite has never been arrested for anything violent. He's never been arrested for anything violent. He's a 32-year-old male. He does live at the home. That house actually belongs to his mother. Also, too, based on the affidavit, it actually states that prior to the incident, Mr. Applewhite and his sister do not have very much contact with one another. It was a one-time incident. It's not something that is a regular occurrence. And also, too, in accordance with that same affidavit, Mr. Applewhite also expressed to the police that he was defending himself against his sister. He is not working right now, but he does have a high school diploma, Your Honor. And with that, because he does not have any other violent charges against him in his 32 years of life, Your Honor, we would request a signature bond.
All right. Defendant will receive a
Yeah, no, I'm
$3,000.
sorry. Can I interrupt? I wasn't sure. My name is Afia Applewhite. I wasn't
Okay.
sure if you asked for me to speak.
Okay, if you're gonna speak, please turn your camera on. All right. If you wish to make a statement, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Okay. I am not interested in you disputing what the state said or what the defense has said, because I'm not sentencing anyone today. What I am most concerned with is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant. I will hear a brief statement from you in light of those instructions. What would you like to tell me, Ms. Applewhite?
No, I would not like to receive contact from the defendant. I am not here to, plead any case. Whatever information you need from me to accurately represent the defendant is what I'm here to present. The representation that the defendant has right now claim that he's never been accused of anything violent in the past in his 32 years of life. And that's simply because myself and my family have been protecting him. However, he is actively a violent person, has been, and will continue to be in the future. Aggressive or anger management is something that's 100% recommended. But as far as my safety at this time, I do not feel that at all.
As far as your safety, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I don't feel that, and that of my family either as well.
All right. All right. At this time, defendant will receive.
Your Honor, I'm very sorry to interrupt. There was one thing that I forgot to add with regards to Ms. Applewhite. Their mother is sick. I can't get my light to work. Their mother is sick, and he is the caretaker for their mother. I wanted to add that.
Okay.
That's untrue.
Okay. All right. Doesn't matter. At this point, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. He's going to take the 1-day anger awareness course. He is going to stay, have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Applewhite, and he is going to stay away from that incident location on Burkdale Drive. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items. He's also, did I say he's going to take 1-day anger awareness? He is going to take that
Yes,
anger
sir.
awareness course. And he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that SOB through the jail. I mean, through pretrial. All right.
Yes, thank you, Your
Anything
Honor.
further?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Applewhite. Who do we have next?
All right, Judge, we got, say your name. Sean Moran. Say your name. Right now, us. Mike Turner. Tristan Waller. Quick T. Rag.
Okay, that's not going to work for me. Are these people? I'm assuming these are all the riot positions.
Yes.
What numbers are they? I still have to do each of them, unfortunately, individually. I will do them all together, but they haven't heard their rights, correct?
That's correct.
All right. All defendants, please pay attention. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney at this particular proceeding. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this. When I ask you if you understand your rights, that's what I'm referring to. So let's begin with the gentleman at the far end. Please step to the screen. What is your name?
Courtier Rag.
Spell the last name. Ray.
Ragland.
Okay. He's position 17. Mr. Howard, will you put his history onto the record?
Yes. Second adult arrest, 2022, entering auto, theft by receiving, possession of a firearm during the commission, and possession of tools.
Okay, that's sufficient. Thank you. Whose case is this for this state? No ASG assigned to this case?
Your Honor, the ASG that is assigned, I think she's having some technical difficulties. And I think she just logged off to log right back in.
What's the case, Your Honor? Can you hearing also at the solicitor's office? I can try to.
It's position 17. These are the all of these are the individuals who were involved in that riot.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Ms. Herring. I'd like to at least hear the state's recommendation.
Sure. Let me pull up what I have. Which of the 5 defendants is it?
He's 17, Cortez Ragland. He has the 2 adult arrests.
Okay. I have them numbered differently on my list, so it's taking me a second to find
That's
it.
okay. It's okay.
I was gonna try to see what the attorney that's assigned to it was recommending, but I don't see her notes. So if he has only 2 adult arrests, there were no injuries reported in this case. We don't object to a signature bond.
Okay. That's what I'm honestly inclined to do for all these cases. I believe other charges are holding these gentlemen in, to my knowledge. So this is just an additional charge that they've picked up that they'll have to deal with at a later date. So defendant, who's from the public defender's office represents Mr. Ragland?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Maureen McLeod.
Okay, Ms. McLeod, my inclination is to give him a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, and he'll have to deal with this charge additionally at another point as he has another hold. Do you have
That
any
would be
objection?
fine with me, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ragland, you received a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. This particular case is no longer holding you in, all right?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
who do
you.
we have next?
Say your name. Judge Wallace.
Okay,
I also represent Mr. Wallace, Your Honor.
he's position 23. Mr. Wallace, your case is 23 CR 003-993D. You're charged with simple battery. You understand your rights?
Yes.
I read the warrant. I'm aware of what happened in this particular case. Ms. Herring, I'm assuming no object. Well, let's put his history onto the record. Mr. Howard, can we have his history, please?
2 adult cycles, sale of marijuana, theft by receiving, possession of tools, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission.
Okay. So similar history, Ms. Herring and Ms. McLeod. I'm inclined to give him the same $2,000 SOB through the jail, and he'll have to deal with this charge at a later date as he has another hold. Any objection from the state of defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
All right, thank you. Who do we have next? Best of luck to you, Mr. Wallace. Y'all behaving there. Who do we have next?
Mark Jernigan.
I'm sorry, your last name is Johnson?
Jernigan. Jernigan.
Jernigan. Okay, Mr. Jernigan.
Number 9.
Okay. Mr. Jernigan, your case is 23 CR 003988D. You're also charged with simple battery. You understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard, can I have his history?
He's on juvie probation for robbery. He's in there on a capital offense.
Okay. All right, that history is a little bit different, Ms. Herring. Would you like to make a different recommendation?
As a practical matter, I don't think it matters. If he's in on a capital offense, it's not gonna change the metric for what we have, so.
I agree. Ms. McLeod, any objection to a
No
$2,000 SOB?
objection, Your Honor.
All right, he will receive a $2,000 SOB through the jail. He'll have to deal with this charge at a later date. Best of luck to you, Mr. Jernigan. Please behave yourself while in there, all right? All right, who do we have next?
You right now, Russ.
Okay. Number 19, Mr. Russell, your case is 23 CR 003992D. You're charged with simple battery. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, will you put his history onto the record?
He got 3 cycles, capital cases with.
All right. Any objection from the state or defense to a $2,000 SOB through the jail? He's picked
No
up.
objection.
He's picked up a charge he'll have to deal with at a later date. Please behave yourself while in there, Mr. Russell. All right. All right. Who do we have next?
Deshaun Moraine.
That name again?
Spell your
Deshaun
last name. Is it Marign?
A-Y.
Position number 12.
Okay.
Yes, please
Thank
call
you.
the numbers.
All right. Your case number is 23 CR 003989B. Your charge is simple battery. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Can you put the history on the record?
I didn't have his. Hold on, let me look at the booking. He been in since October. Ag assault, criminal gang activity, criminal damage to property, discharge of firearms. He got a list of charges. A lot of them.
All right. But it's practical from a practical matter, we'll be in the same position as the other cases. Any objection from the state or the defense to a $2,000 SOB through the jail? And
No objection.
information that he has picked up an additional charge that he will have to deal with at some point in addition to the charge that was already holding him in. All right. All right.
No
Behave
objection.
yourself, sir. All right. That concludes your case at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. Jail court's iPhone. Is that everyone that was there?
Yes, ma'am. That's everybody. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. They can be excused.
Position number 14.
Okay. Are you Jason Fresha?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Your case is 23 CR 003981G. You're charged with battery, family violence with the offense date of June the 22nd. You understand, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
22 total. Last arrest was back in August. Stuff I taken. I saw 06 ag assault conviction. 2021 theft by deception arrest.
So the last violence was 06?
Last violent conviction. I'm not sure about last violent arrest.
Okay, got you. Understood. All right, Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 22nd, 2023. Officers were dispatched to 130 Northside Drive Southwest in response to a verbal dispute that turned physical. Upon arrival, the defendant stated that he had called police to the scene because he had been scratched in the face with a pair of keys by the mother of his child, the victim, Miss Sandrina Ingram. He said that he and the victim were meeting up so that he could see his son, but she did not bring the child and wanted to talk about selling the house. When he informed her that he wanted to actually sell the house, she became upset and a verbal altercation ensued. That altercation turned physical. At one point, Mr. Prisha slammed the vehicle car door on Miss Ingram's arm, which led to bruising on her arm. Due to his violent arrest and convictions, at this time, the state is asking for a $10,000 surety bond, stay away from the incident location, no further contact to the victim, Ms. Chandria Ingram, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And that's all.
All right, is Ms. Ingram present on the Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement?
She was NOD, so we did not bring her into the courtroom.
Okay. All right, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 43 years old. He tells me that he and the cross-defendant share 5 minor children, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 9-year-old, 6-year-old, and a 1-year-old. He tells me that she was upset with him. They were at a parking lot. I believe he was at this particular parking lot when she came over there and started an argument with him because she thought that the house that they live in, which belongs to him, that he had sold it behind her back, which he had not. So she started an argument with him. He denies that he hit her, Your Honor. He said she really started an argument with him and she was the one who struck him, but he did not strike her. I understand that my client does have a history, Your Honor, but at the present time, he's not in a position to post a bond, and never mind a $10,000 good bond. So I would ask the court to give him the lowest possible bond that the court could give under these circumstances, Your Honor, and given taking into consideration the fact that this was a dual arrest, because my client did have some markings on him as well, and I believe some blood on his face.
All right.
Then further, Your Honor.
All right, defendant is going to receive a $4,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the cross defendant, last name Ingram, and stay away from that incident location. They can arrange to transport the children by contacting the third party. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there
Your Honor,
anything further?
I believe that is his home, Your Honor, that he owns, the incident location.
Does she live there too?
Yes, I believe she does live there.
Okay. So she was not brought, she was taking the felony. I'm trying to figure out, was there a stay away given? Does anyone know if the
The
stay
case was
away was?
NOD'd, I think.
It was NOD, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, okay. So if that is his
Your
home,
Honor, that she was the victim in the case. They were both
Okay.
charged in the same case against.
right, but she was, right, it was dismissed. Okay, I'm sorry. So what we'll do is if she is continuing to reside there, he will have to stay away from that location. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to make that determination. If she's no longer there, he can return. If she's still residing there, he must stay away from that location. All right, is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Pressure.
Position 4, position 24.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. White. Your case is 23 CR 003978J. You're charged with battery with the offense date of June the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Who are we on?
24 White. Can I have the history, please?
20 total. He's been in custody since 2020 on a capital offense. That's it.
Okay. All right, Ms. James.
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant, it appears that both the defendant and the victim are in custody. There was an altercation between them. The victim reported to the officers that the younger inmates were trying to take over a zone in the jail, and that's why he was attacked. Officers noted that the victim had visible signs of injury, black eye, a cut on his foot, and his fist, but they were not able to locate any weapons in this incident. The state was asking or recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim. They're in custody, but to stay away from the victim's area in the jail if that's possible, and if the defendant is released, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. He has some violent history.
Okay. When you say stay away from the.
I don't
Okay.
know if they're in the
I
same.
don't know if we can do that. We can try. Okay, we'll see what we can do. All right, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 31 years old. He denies that he was involved in attacking anyone, Your Honor. He has been locked up for the past 4 years, he tells me, in the jail. So naturally, he's not in a position to post any kind of bond. So I would request a signature bond for him, Your Honor.
Okay. Defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. And he's to have no contact with the alleged victim. I don't really know how we can do it. Stay away. He should. I think that no further contact will just have to take care of it. And additionally, of course, he should have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
No,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
All right. All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. White. Who do we have next?
Position 7.
All right, Mr. Is this Mr. Fielder?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Fielder, your case is 23 CR 003982Y. You're charged with battery. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
This is first
Mr. Howard.
first adult arrest.
Okay. All right, Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday. Officers were dispatched to 606 Parkway Drive Northeast in reference to a male beating a female. Upon arrival, officers found both the defendant and the victim, Ms. Shatashia Roberts, in front of the location. Mr. Fielder was sitting on the steps and Ms. Roberts was standing in front of the location crying. Officers asked Mr. Fielder what happened. He told them nothing. They then turned to Ms. Roberts, at which time they noticed swelling in Ms. Roberts' face and blood coming from her nose. She had relayed to officers that she had fallen down the steps. However, they saw no evidence of that occurring. Officers then talked to 2 witnesses that had seen the incident, and they informed officers that they saw a male matching the description of the defendant striking Ms. Roberts in the face and stomach and pulling her by her hair. Ms. Roberts told officers that she and the defendant currently live together and share a child together. Our investigators spoke to the victim earlier today, and she did confirm that her and the defendant are in a relationship. However, they are currently homeless and currently living at that location with the defendant's friend. She further stated that they do not have a violent history and she does not fear the defendant. And she does state that the incident report is incorrect. And she does not want to pursue charges further. However, Your Honor, due to the fact that this incident occurred yesterday, and there has not been an adequate amount of time for either party to thoroughly cool off, our office is currently recommending a $5,000 surety bond, stay away from the victim or stay away from incident location, no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and an anger awareness course. And at this time, if the victim is present, we would like to sound for her.
All right, is Ms. Roberts present?
She's here in the courtroom gallery.
Does she wish to make a statement?
Stand by, Judge. She said yes. Hold on.
Okay, Ms. Roberts, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. What I'm most interested in is if you have any fear of the defendant and if you wish to have contact, but you can give me a short statement. I'm not imposing any sentences today. What would you like to tell me?
I'm not sure what who was called. I let the police officer know that I was actually having an argument with the lady that owns the home. And he was just around. I let the officers know that he did not hit me. And I told the lady that I talked to today that I'm not in fear, of him at all. He's a good person. We don't have kids together, but we are, in a relationship. It was nothing at all that, I fear my life with him. We're just going through, some time as far as with finding, stable housing, but it's nothing at all where, I would like to have contact with him. And, we're actually in a financial, hardship. And so, I would ask that, it would be something that, a signature bond or something that he can sign himself out so we can continue, the path that we're in. We're nonviolent. He hasn't even been in any trouble. It just was a misunderstanding. I let the police officer know that, but they were they just were insisted on taking him in. So I just asked that you just have mercy on him. We don't have money.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you making that statement, Ms. Roberts. All right, Ms. Adams.
Yes,
please
thank you, Your
proceed.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Fiddler is a 29-year-old man. He does have a child, but he does not share that child with Ms. Roberts, as Ms. Roberts has provided to the court just now. Mr. Fiddler also provided that information to me. So tried to let the police know that, but police did not listen. His child does live here in Georgia. So he has ties. He was born and raised here, so he has ties to the community. He does his own community service on his own, where he goes to parks, specifically Rodney Cook Park, where he cleans up on his own time, just to keep his community clean. He's a very active parent, and Your Honor, because he's a 29-year-old man, almost 30 years old, and he does not have any violent priors, we would be requesting a signature bond.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Ms. Stafford or Ms. Adams, did you all wish to ask any questions of the witness before I made my decision?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
No, from the state, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services per judge. He is to take the one-day anger awareness course and have no further violent contact with the victim. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Fielder. Who do we have next?
Position 22.
All right, Mr. Terry, your case is 23 CR 003977A. You're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of June the 23rd. You understand your rights?
I understand.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history?
19 total. Last was 2022, failure to appear. 2021 probation. He has a shoplifting conviction from 2021 and a 2021 failure to appear. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Ms. Herring, is this your case? You're muted.
No, Your Honor, but I'm happy to take a look at it if,
Or is it Ms. James? Ms. James, are you here?
I'm here. This is a probation matter, is it not?
No.
Who's the person's name? Because I thought it was probation.
Position 22, Mr. Terry.
Tarek?
Terry. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. But Mr. Terry.
Oh, right. Okay, yes. Sorry about that. That is mine. I thought it was a probation matter. Yes, Your Honor, I apologize. It appears that Mr. Tarek was found inside of the Midtown Urology office building. He was sleeping in one of the doctor's offices and had locked that door. And he had also written on several of the walls in the office. And so the state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond and to stay away from the location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And although he does have some history, he doesn't have a criminal trespass in his history.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Ms.
welcome.
Armstrong.
Okay.
Ms. Armstrong, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I apologize. Thank you for your patience. Travian has been in the Atlanta area for quite a while, has deep connections to Georgia. They were at this medical facility seeking medical treatment, and we are asking Your Honor to set a signature bond in this case. Thank you.
All right. In light of the information before me, defendant will receive a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He must absolutely stay away from that location at least 100 yards. And he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. I'm sorry, that should be 1,000 yards. there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 26.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Wayne. Your case is 23 CR 003984F. You're charged with battery family violence for the offense date of November the 7th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history?
Win, third arrest, 2017, possession of marijuana conviction. 2016, same thing.
Okay, thank you. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. It appears that the defendant and the victim, they have children together, and the victim and the defendant got into a verbal dispute over household chores. The defendant grabbed the victim around the neck, according to the victim, with both hands and forced her against the door frame. When she hit the door frame, the defendant let her go. The victim threw the defendant's cell phone, and that's when the defendant grabbed the victim again and shoved her against the wall. At that time, the victim had their baby in her arms. And according to the officer, the victim suffered minor injuries, redness, and scratch. There is no violence that I'm showing in its history. So the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the location. If he wants to see his child, to have third-party exchange, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, and what was the name of the victim again?
Her name is Rajia Martin. I believe she's.
I see her on the line. I wanted to make sure. Thank you, Ms. James. Ms. Martin, if you wish to make a statement, please unmute your screen and raise your right hand. Do you swear in all right,
sorry.
do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. What I am most concerned with is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant or if you have any fear. But in light of that, I'll hear a statement. What would you like to tell me?
No fear. It's in the past. We co-parent really well now. I'm just ready to move on.
Okay. Thank you. Ms.
No problem.
McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 28 years old. He has no history of violence whatsoever. The parties do not live together, and this incident allegedly happened in early November of last year. I would ask the court to consider giving my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. I did have the opportunity to speak with Ms. Martin earlier, and she says they are co-parenting well together, that they have never lived together, and she has absolutely no issues with my client, and he's a good father. So based on all of that, Your Honor, given that, this was about 9 months ago that this incident allegedly happened and everything has been going fine between them as co-parents, I would ask for a signature bond, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. He's to take the one-day anchor awareness course and have no further violent contact with the alleged victim, last name Martin. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And Ms. Martin, happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, going back to the, just for a minute, I hate to go back with such a large calendar. I understand that, going back to the case where there was a cross defendant and the case was NOD. Do we want to have, I would like, if possible, to have that young lady come in and give me a statement regarding contact. I can't remember what case that was.
It was
I know
my
that, who was it?
I think it was number 22. Just let me look and tell you my
I
client.
can't remember either. It wasn't 22.
It was Mr. Pressure, Jason Pressure, Your Honor.
Okay.
So if last name.
Okay. So he's number 14, and Miss Ingram is there at courtroom 2, but not
No,
really.
ma'am, we gotta get someone to get her. She's not in the courtroom.
Okay, if that's possible by the end of the calendar, I'd like to hear a statement from her since she's now considered a victim.
Okay.
Okay. All right, who do we have?
Position 3.
All right, Mr. Boyd, your case is 23 CR 003973D. Your charge was obscured and missing license plate, fleeing and eluding, reckless driving, open container, and obstruction. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
Boyd, 33 total. Last arrest was on the 9th of this month for suspended license. Sale of marijuana. On probation, possession of marijuana with intent. What else? 2017, driving without a valid license, no low. 2016, suspended license conviction. 2014, theft by receiving conviction. And he got a 2018 FTA and probation violation.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on June 17th, 2023. Officers were patrolling in the area of 1590 Joseph E. Boone when they entered the parking lot for that incident location and saw a white Infiniti Q50 that was sitting in the parking lot with a male sitting in the driver's seat. Officers parked next to that vehicle, at which time the defendant drove off, and officers observed a dark tinted cover over his license plate, making it unreadable. Officers followed. The defendant turned on their overhead light bar and activated emergency equipment, signifying the driver to pull over. The driver of the vehicle continued to drive and failed to stop for the officers. At one point, the driver did stop at an intersection. However, when he saw officers exiting their vehicles, he took off driving again. While he was fleeing from officers, he ran a red light and approximately 4 stop signs at a high rate of speed. Due to the risk of the general public, officers terminated the pursuit. However, a short time later, officers found the vehicle at 281 North Avenue unoccupied. When officers searched the vehicle, they discovered a black wallet with Mr. Boyd's ID inside, and he was identified as the driver of the vehicle during the pursuit. They also found 2 open bottles of alcohol inside of the vehicle. Mr. Boyd's license had been suspended on June 10th, 2023. Due to his most recent arrest for driving without a license, as well as multiple additional arrests for the same charge, and him currently being out on bond at that time for his most recent arrest, we are currently asking for a $15,000 cash bond.
Okay. Ms. Adams?
Yes, Your Honor. First and foremost, Mr. Boyd denies actually driving the vehicle. And there are some serious issues which, with this case, with regards to searching his car and all of that I think are probably better suited for another time. Regardless to that, Your Honor, Mr. Boyd was born and raised here in Georgia. He has several children. He's a very active parent. He has an 11th grade education. He's a 35-year-old man. None of his offenses are violent, which would warrant a $15,000 bond. In addition to that, Your Honor, he does make meager ends. He makes meager wages, working different odd jobs. And so with that, Your Honor, especially considering the fact that he's not a violent person, we would like to request a signature bond.
Okay, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 surety bond broken down as follows: 500 count 1, 1,000. 500 count 1, 500 count 2, 500 count 3, 1,000 count 4, and 500 count 5. That should equal to 3,000. He's to not drive whatsoever, and he additionally is to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, if I may, he was on a $30,000 surety bond when he did this. So I think a $3,000 surety bond will provide any additional disincentive for him to continue the same conduct.
Again, Your Honor, there's issues as to whether or not he in fact was the person driving.
Right, I understand all of that. I was not aware of the bond that he was currently on. All right, we'll let it remain as set in light of the information before me. The 3,000 surety will stand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Position 4.
All right, Mr. Brooks, your case is 23 CR 003983Y. You're charged with simple battery with the offense date of November the 12th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have the history?
Third arrest, 2022. Possession of a drug-related object, possession of marijuana. That's out of Clayton County. 2020 theft by receiving, fleeing an officer and hit and run. That's it.
Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred, as you stated, November 1st, 2022. Officers were dispatched to 262 Arthur Langford Jr. Place Southwest Unit 6 to a fight in progress call. Upon arrival, officers spoke to the victim, Latonia Jackson, who advised that she had been slapped in the face by her boyfriend, the defendant, Mr. Brooks. She further advised that while she was sleeping, Mr. Brooks went through her phone and woke her up, and at that point, the two began arguing, which led to him hitting her in the face with the open hand. Due to the violence that occurred on that day, Your Honor, we are asking for a $2,500 surety bond and no further contact with Latonia Jackson, anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and stay away from the incident location.
All right, is Ms. Jackson present and wishes to make a statement? All right, Ms. Adams.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brooks, he is a 20-year-old male. He has two children. One is 2 years old, small children. One is 2 years old, and the other is a newborn baby. He shares that child with the alleged victim in this incident. In this incident, they have been living together. He wasn't even aware of the charges and that there was a warrant, considering that this incident allegedly took place in November of last year. More than just about 6 months ago. So he wasn't even aware of it. They do share a child together. And with regards to all that, Your Honor, they have been living together without incident since that day. They reside at his aunt's home. And he is starting his own business. He does work. His business is in landscaping. He has a high school diploma, and he was born and raised here in Georgia. So with that, Your Honor, we're asking for a signature bond and no violent contact with the alleged victim.
All right. As Ms. Jackson is not here to make a statement, I am not inclined to give the no further violent contact. Defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Jackson. He is to stay away from that location should she reside there. If she's not there, he can return to that location. He can receive an escort with law enforcement to make that determination. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further? All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Brooks. Who do we have next?
16.
Okay, Mr. Quiggle, your case is 23 CR 003974A. You're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of June the 23rd. Do you understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history?
And let's see. Second arrest. Got a criminal trespass out of Johns Creek, 23 CR 002772F.
Okay.
He was in court yesterday morning.
For that?
No.
Okay. All right, Ms. Stafford?
This is Mr. I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I think it's Quiggle.
Quiggle. Okay.
I could be wrong.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday on the intersection of Capitol Ave and Memorial Drive. Officers were dispatched to that intersection in reference to a fight in progress involving a mother that had been attacked by her son. Upon arrival, officers spoke with the victim, Ms. Heather Quiggle, who stated that she was leaving the mental health court with her son. She stated that he became angry with her, leaned over, and bit her left thumb. She stated she was able to pull over the vehicle at that intersection. And when she did, the defendant got out of the vehicle, walked over to the driver's side. He opened the door and began to punch her on the right side of her head, causing a bump to form. As I stated, the victim is the defendant's mother. They both reside together at 10365 Plantation Bridge Drive. The victim stated that the defendant does have some mental health illnesses. And it's currently.
Let's not make reference to that on the record, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understood.
She did confirm the reports that were detailed in the incident report, and she stated that she does not feel safe with the defendant in her home, and that is per her conversation with the victim advocate this morning. As a result of the incidents that occurred yesterday, Your Honor, at this time we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, stay away, correction, no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a mental health evaluation.
Okay. Ms. Quiggle, I see you on the line. Do you wish to make a statement? You're not required to. Would you like to? If you do, I need you to unmute and raise your right hand. And please don't make any reference to any medical issues, okay?
Okay.
All right. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. Actually, Mr. Jordan, will you put me in a breakout room, please, with Ms. Stafford, Ms. Quiggle, Ms. Herring, and Ms. Armstrong?
Good.
Thank you. All right. Defendant will receive a $3,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim, stay away from the address on Plantation Bridge, undergo evaluations as discussed, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
What was that amount?
3,000.
Good.
Yes, it's good. Best of luck to you, Mr. Quiggle. That concludes your case at this time.
Position 21.
Hey, I think Terry goes upstairs, that's Smoot.
All right. We're gonna go to position 21. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Smoot. Your case is 23 CR 003976C. You're charged with simple battery. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
All right, fourth arrest. Last was on the 19th of this month. Battery DV. Ag assault and robbery, Clayton County. That's open.
Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on March 29, 2023. On March 30th, 2023, Officer Keys was approached by the store manager for Walmart at the Old National location, 6149 Old National Highway, South Fulton, regarding an assault that occurred the day prior. Officer Keys made contact with the victim, Alexia Leach, and she stated that she was leaving work the day prior when her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Smoot, approached her and a male coworker. The defendant then knocked the male coworker to the ground and told her to get in the car. Once in the car, she stated that he hit her in the nose with a closed hand fist and choked her. She stated that she then drove to her house where he exited the vehicle and left the area on foot. And the defendant then further made threats to her and followed her to work. Due to the defendant's most recent arrest being on June 19th for battery and aggravated assault, the state is now asking that you issue a $3,500 surety bond, stay away from 6149 Old National Highway, South Fulton, no further contact, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and anger awareness.
All right, and the victim's name one more time.
Alexia Leach.
Is Ms. Leach present on the Zoom conference? I wish to make a statement. All right. I understand you want to make a statement, Mrs. Smoot. You have a right to remain silent. I suggest you let Ms. Armstrong speak for you. Ms. Armstrong, please proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Smoot holds down a full-time job with a very reputable entity. I don't want to say it on the record, but trust, it is a really good one. But he does qualify for representation. He pays child support about $1,000 every week. He's up to date on that child support, and that's for 3 children that he supports. His kids are well on their way to college and are in high school. He is a devoted father, and he has strong ties to Georgia. We understand the state's position, but we're asking for a bond that's no more than $1,000 in this case.
All right. Defendant will receive a $3,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Leach. He is to stay away from that Walmart location and have no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As a reminder, he will be reset to state all purpose on July the 6th. Ms. Smoot, I think you should give Ms. Armstrong a call and not make any statements that can end up being used against you. Do you have a question about the bond?
Well, honestly, I would like to make a statement.
No, don't make any statements. We're not sentencing you today, and the state is on the line and will use anything you say against you, all right?
I still like to make a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one, this video in this.
No. I really don't think you should do that. The state will use that against you, okay?
Your Honor.
Mr. Smoot, please exercise your right to remain
what the state said was incorrect.
Okay.
And you'll have an opportunity to present any defenses. Okay, go ahead and make your statement. Go ahead.
First of all, I never touched Mrs. Leach. She had an opportunity to go on record at the time that TOP was issued to assure that what she said was correct. She did not appear for that because she knew that that was a lie. I did not touch her at all.
Okay.
Also,
Mine will remain as said. I think what you're doing is disputing the state's charges, and you'll have the opportunity to do that, all right? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Smoot.
Position number 5, Bird.
All right, Mr. Oh, okay. Can we take that case back?
Yes, ma'am. Position number 6, Daniel.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Daniel. Your case is 23 CR 003986B. You're charged with battery against a pregnant female with the offense date of October the 18th. Do you understand, right?
Ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
It's 8th arrest. 2022 Lord and Problem. Got an open theft by receiving, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, 2 counts. Possession of a firearm during a commission, fleeing an officer, reckless driving, obstruction. That's 21 SC. They missing a number out of that one. The Lord and Problem, 22 CP 209123. 2018 entering auto conviction. 2021 probation.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred October 18, 2022. Officers responded to a fight call at 1085 White Oak Avenue. Upon arrival, they met with the victim, Janiyah Riley. She informed officers that her boyfriend, Mr. Daniel, had assaulted her, and he was in the residence and was known to have carried a firearm. Officers yelled upstairs for him to come downstairs. However, a few minutes later, they heard a noise upstairs, and he had jumped out of the back window and took off running. Officers ran after him and were not able to locate him. They then spoke to Ms. Riley about what happened, and she stated that he had got upset with her and started yelling at her. She further stated that he tried to take her phone, but she would not let him. During the altercation, he began to fight her and grabbed her around her neck from behind. Officers observed a cut on her neck. At that time, she advised officers that she was pregnant. Due to the violent nature of this incident, Your Honor, as well as the fact that the defendant has current open cases, we are currently asking for a $5,000 surety bond, stay away from the incident location, no further contact from the victim, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and anger awareness.
All right, I'm sorry, give me that incident location one more time.
1085 White Oak Avenue in Atlanta.
Okay, thank you. I'm sounding for Ms. Riley. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Adams.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Daniel has an 11th grade education. He's a father of 2. His youngest is literally just a couple of weeks old. He's gainfully employed. He's born and raised right here in Atlanta. And currently, based on one of his open cases, he does not have a bond on some of those charges, Your Honor. And those are felony charges. And so with that, we're requesting a signature bond since he already doesn't have bond on some of his other charges.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Riley and stay away from the incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Yes, Sharon, I do have a question. If he is able to get a bond, would he be allowed to have third-party contact with his children?
Yes,
he
can arrange to see his children by coordinating with a third party.
Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Daniel. Who do we have next?
Position 18.
8 or 18?
18.
18. Okay. This is Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray, your case is CR 003991C. You're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of June the 23rd. You understand, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard.
7 total, 2022 failure to appear. That's an open case out of Cherokee County. That's all I got.
Okay. Don't know what the underlying offense is. Okay. Ms. James might. Ms. James, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. It appears that this offense took place on June 23rd, 2023. The officers were dispatched to the location for reports of threats. The victim and the defendant had been living together. The defendant walked up to the victim And it appears that the victim started recording him and said she was going to call the police. And he got close to her, according to the video, and said that she will find out. The defendant swung his arm towards the victim, striking the victim and the phone. The officers noted that there were no visible signs of injury. And the state is recommending here a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the location. That was 10840 Indian Village Drive in Johns Creek, and to take an anger awareness.
Okay. What was the victim's name?
Her name is Laura Shaw.
All right, I'm sounding for Ms. Shaw. Ms. Shaw, if you're present. All right, hearing none. Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ray's been trying to get away from Ms. Shaw for quite a while. She's really upset about that. He also has bladder cancer and has been, he qualifies for representation despite his reported salary, but he spent a lot of money dealing with the financial burden of the bladder cancer, plus taking care of Ms. Shaw's children, who both of them live in the home. He was actually on his way to Alabama, where he intends to stay since he's trying to get away from Ms. Shaw. I did provide that updated address to Ms. Grace. That's where his next court date notice will go, because that's where he wants to be, which is far away from Ms. Shaw. We are asking for a one-time return with police escort so he can get his stuff before he goes to Alabama. But at this point, just given his minimal criminal history, we're asking for a signature bond or a bond that's no more than $1,000, and that is an urgent request considering the cancer treatment that he's currently undergoing. Thank you.
All right, defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim, stay away from the incident location. He can return one time with law enforcement to get any items. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Judge, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Ray. Who do we have next?
Jenkins, position 8.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, your case is 23 CR 00398. I'm sorry, CR 003985F. You're charged with battery against a pregnant female with the offense date of June the 23rd. You understand your rights? All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2017, simple assault.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday. Officers responded to 5100 Welcome Mall Road Southwest in reference to a disturbance. Upon arrival, they spoke to the defendant, who advised he had got into an altercation with his girlfriend, Kiera Ware. He stated he woke up to her going through his phone, yelling at him, and that he attempted to leave to de-escalate the situation, but Ms. Ware took his keys. Upon speaking to Ms. Ware, officers observed bruising on both of her arms and a scratch across her face. Ms. Ware stated that the defendant hit her, pulled her by her shirt, causing it to tear, and that he grabbed her by her arms and threw her around violently. Due to the violent nature of this incident, Your Honor, the state is currently asking for a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from incident location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and anger awareness.
Okay, I'm sounding for Ms. Ware. Hearing and seeing none. Ms. Adams?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jenkins is a 25-year-old man. He is gainfully employed. He drives trucks. He does have a baby on the way with Ms. Ware. He has a high school diploma. He's born and raised in Georgia. He is over-the-road driver, but he returns to Georgia every single weekend. The home in which this alleged incident had occurred was actually Mr. Jenkins's home. And so because they also have a child on the way, there was also some evidence that Mr. Jenkins had provided to police with regards to the incident. But, that is also something that I guess will be, ironed out at a later time. but he was deemed to be the primary aggressor in this incident based on the information that he provided without additional questioning being made by police. With regards to that, Your Honor, we do request that he only had one charge, which was a simple assault from a number of years ago, and that case was dismissed. So with that, Your Honor, Mr. Jenkins does not have any violent convictions. We ask that he receive a signature bond or a low surety bond.
All right. Defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Ms. Ware. I understand that the home on Welcome Road is his home. However, if she's continuing to reside there, he will have to stay away from that location. He can return with law enforcement to make that determination. If she is there, he can collect his items. If she's not there, he can return to that location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Jenkins.
Hold on. Position 20.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Shavers. Your case is 23 CR 003975E. You're charged with battery with the offense date of June the 23rd. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Howard?
67 total. Last was 2021 probation. He's on probation 16 SC 145636. Possession of a controlled substance. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense took place in November of 2021. The officers were dispatched to 20 Auburn Avenue. That's
Wait,
where.
are we sure that that's the correct incident date? I had the
No,
incident date was yesterday. That's not
Okay.
right?
You might be right. I need to check. I'll have to verify that date. I'm looking at some other notes. But
Okay.
what happened is the officers were dispatched to 20 Auburn Avenue. And that's where the victim indicated that he had gotten into a verbal argument or dispute with the defendant. The dispute turned physical. The victim told the police that the defendant caused a small laceration to his hand. The police then canvassed the area and came across a man fitting the description that the victim had provided. Another officer reviewed the city cameras and was able to confirm that that man was the defendant. The defendant stated when the police apprehended him, he stated that the victim had tried to take his personal items. The defendant was taken into custody. There was a small bag of marijuana found on this person that was, we're dismissing that. And for the battery, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact, to stay away from the location, the 20 Auburn Avenue. And there was also another address, the 15 Peachtree Street Southwest. And the victim's name is Curtis Harper. And we're asking that the defendant have no alcohol, drug, or weapons. And let me verify that date, if you wouldn't.
While you're verifying, let's sound for Mr. Harper.
Okay.
Is Mr. Harper present? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Armstrong?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Mr. Shavers is a lifelong Atlanta resident. He is the primary caregiver for his 75-year-old father. They live in the home together. So Mr. Shavers is very concerned about his father's well-being at this time that he's in custody. So given his role as the caregiver for his father, we're asking for a bond no higher than $1,000.
All right. Defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Mr. Harper. Stay away from both incident locations, one on Auburn Avenue, one on Peachtree Street. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there
Thank you,
anything
Judge.
further? All right. Best
Yes.
of luck to you. Oh, Ms. James?
Yes, I was just confirming. I'm looking at the date. looking at the report, and it is saying that the date was the 23rd of
Okay.
June.
All right, understood. Mr. Shavers, you'd like to make a statement? I don't recommend it. The state is listening. Do you have a question about the bond?
Yes, it's not much of a statement, but what happened was the defendant was taking
I don't recommend you
Miss-
tell.
well,
and
I'm
then-
ready for a signature bond. I need to get home and take care of my father. But
Okay.
I'm good for a signature bond. I haven't been in trouble in 6, 7 years. And I'm off of the probation that he talking about I'm on. I did 3 years, almost, my probation is suspended. And I didn't have no problem. This man came and stole some property from me.
Okay, bond will remain at 1,000 surety. All right.
No signature bond. I'm not
That's
eligible.
it. All
I'm
right,
not looking for a signature bond.
I'm not gonna change it at this time. All right,
Position 11.
They ain't even bad for no signature bond.
all right. Mr. Lingerfeld, your case is 23 CR 003980G. You're charged with battery with the offense date of June the 15th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard?
This is fifth arrest. He's on probation for trespass. 21 CR 007104G. 2017 terrorist threats, dead docket. That's it.
Okay. Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place on June 15th, 2023, and the officers were called to the Lifetime Fitness. The defendant and the victim, it appears according to the incident report, they had gotten into an altercation. The victim asked the defendant to move over so that he could get his goggles, and that was near the sauna. The defendant stood and pushed the victim, and the footage showed that the defendant got into the victim's face, the victim pushed the defendant away, and the defendant punched the defendant in the head with a closed fist. And based on that, the state is going to recommend here a 1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, to stay away from the Lifetime Fitness, and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
And the victim's name?
The victim's name is Morris Nelson.
I'm sounding for Mr. Nelson
Thank you.
at this time. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Adams?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lingerfeld is a 28-year-old man who was born and raised right here in Georgia. He works odd jobs, so he does not have a lot of money. He has a high school diploma and he has a trade school diploma in carpentry. He also picks up trash around town, trying to keep his community clean whenever he sees trash just hanging around. He does not have a problem with staying away from the Lifetime Fitness or the alleged victim in this case. However, it should be stated on the record that this is a potential case for self-defense. And with that, Your Honor, we are requesting a signature bond for Mr. Lingerfeld.
All right, defendant orders to $1,000 $1,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with Mr. Nelson and stay away from the Lifetime Fitness. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further? All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 10.
Okay, are you Miss Jordan? Miss Jordan, your case is 23 CR 003979J. In this case, you're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of June the 23rd. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
It's a fourth arrest. Last arrest was back in '88.
Okay, that's sufficient. Thank you. Ms. Stafford?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred yesterday. Officers were dispatched to 131 Kimberly Way Southwest in Atlanta for a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, officers met with the defendant and the victim, Juan Harris, who were having a verbal argument. Mr. Harris advised that he was arguing with Ms. Jordan when she pushed him in the chest, and he would like to press charges. Ms. Jordan advised that they were having a verbal argument when Mr. Harris came in her face yelling and calling her names. She then used her hands to push him in the chest to get him out of her face. Ms. Jordan and Mr. Harris have been living together. However, they're no longer in a relationship. And Ms. Jordan did advise officers that she had filed an eviction against Mr. Harris. At this time, the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Mr. Juan Harris. A stay away from 1381 Kimberly Way Southwest if Mr. Harris has not moved. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and anger awareness.
Okay. Ms. Armstrong?
Thank you, Judge. Once again, reiterating that my client hasn't been arrested in about 35 years. This incident was in retaliation for the eviction that the state noted in the recitation of the alleged facts. Juan was really upset that he's getting evicted from the Kimberly Way apartment. That is her apartment. He is no longer there. My client does receive disability for what could be a fatal condition that I will not put on the record, but it is an urgent one. And I am asking Your Honor to, given her medical condition and also 35 years without any contact with law enforcement, to consider a signature bond in this case.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond. Per judge, through pretrial, she's take the one-day anger awareness course and have no further contact with Mr. Harris. She must stay away from that address should he still reside there. If he's no longer there, she can return to that address. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, thank you, Judge.
How much was that?
3,000 SLB for pretrial per judge.
Judge Williams, I have Ms. Ingram here.
All right, Ms. Ingram, do you wish to make a statement? You are not required to do so. I know that I had you brought, but do you wish to make any statements regarding contact with the defendant in your case, Mr. Pressure?
The only thing I can have to say, I don't have to be around him.
Wait a second. Raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury? Okay. All right, you can put your hand down. Go ahead with what you were saying.
I was saying we do share a child together, but I don't have to be around him. We don't even live together.
Okay, do you have fear of him?
No.
And as it pertains to that home, do you still live there? I don't have the address anymore.
I live there. Jason, this is our house together. We both own the house. I live there. He doesn't, but he still have access. He don't come unless he really have to.
Okay. And so you're saying you wish to have contact with him?
No, I don't have to have contact.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you making that statement, Ms. Ingram. I do appreciate it. All right. And I'll take it into consideration. Ms. Grace, I may give you some modification. For now, order will remain as set. I appreciate that, Ms. Ingram. All right. Who do we have next?
Did we do Baker?
We did not.
Your Honor, that Baker case is related to Withers. Did you do Withers?
We did not.
Okay, those two are related.
This calendar is very long. Are there announcements for what happened to Bakers and Withers?
Yes, Your Honor. Both they waived appearance.
Oh, okay. All right, understood. All right, sir.
Well, at least I can speak for Mr. Baker that he waived his appearance.
All right, who do we have?
I think that's the guy you wanted last right there.
Okay, and I don't remember what number. That was number 5. This is Mr. Bird.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bird, your case is 23 CR 003994E. I'm not going to sound the first charge. The second charge, you charge with simple battery. Third is pedestrian in a roadway, and the fourth is obstruction. You understand your rights?
Yes.
And Ms. Jordan, if you could turn off the live stream temporarily.
Samantha, that's
No.
It's